Cool, my drawing tablet is malfunctioning. What the fuck? Well, looks like there's nothing we can do. End of stream. Hold on. This is gonna be a technical fuck around with the shit stream now. Okay, we're back. Problem solved. Time to go buy a new Wacom tablet. Do not advertise Wacom tablets in this stream. Wacom tablets are overpriced crap at this point. They're in the same category as Adobe. We became market standard first, and then we've just been eating off of that reputation for the last like 20 years. They're not actually good. And they're vastly overpriced. Talk about the kidnapping of Maduro? What if I just say no? I woke up and checked New York Times, and on the front page of their website, they had a headline that said, is it legal for Trump to control Venezuela now? And I was just like, LMAO. I love how that's the question you're asking. Is it legal? As if that has ever mattered in international affairs. Is it legal to nuke Hiroshima, guys? I need to know if this is legal or not. Are we talking Apple levels of overpriced? I mean, I consider Apple to be like a 30% markup or so. So it might be slightly more if you're comparing like XP Pen tablets to an Adobe tablet. I haven't actually researched prices, but I've been using XP Pen for many years, and it's exactly the same product as like a Wacom. There's really no discernible difference, so... And it's like maybe half the price. I don't know. It's extremely cheap compared. I would recommend that you not buy Wacom at this point. Back in the day, Wacom had specific technology on pen pressure stuff that made it way better than other stuff, or more like they were the only people with the technology, but that time is long far gone, so you're spending a lot of money on something that might break very quickly. How are the hemorrhoids? The hemorrhoids are okay, but I have to make sure and hurry up and quickly, I need to hurry and contact the fucking doctor. When I was talking to my aunt about how I had to call the doctor's office. She was like, I don't know if you call the doctor's office. I think you can just walk in. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's a doctor. You need to have, you know, an appointment 6 months in advance. And she's like, I don't know. They might not have a receptionist. This is like a local, like, hemorrhoid, you know, asshole doctor. I'm just like, what kind of fucking witchcraft is this shit? How can you possibly have a medical system that doesn't involve some sort of labyrinthian process? Walk into the doctor's office and have them see you immediately? That's such bullshit. That's impossible. I'm not going to trust her, and I'm going to call them normally. What tablet do you use? I use XP Pen. After I bought my second Wacom large-sized tablet for like $500+ and it broke within like a year, I was just like, holy shit. Do not spend money on a premium product. The cardboard wrapping for that thing was so fucking spiffy, and then it broke so quickly. I was just like, holy shit, this truly is the, like, the Apple products of drawing tablets. Like, they've used all of their ability on making stuff look expensive and 0 cents on fucking quality control, so you could have been unlucky with that Wacom tablet. That's a really stupid opinion there, my friend. It doesn't matter if you got lucky or unlucky. That's what quality control is. I worked in the auto industry as a translator. That's how you measure shit, is the number of failure rate between a certain percentage, being like parts per million type shit. If they had a lower failure rate, then I wouldn't have hit it. The fact that they have a high failure rate means it's poor quality. That's all. So if you have the possibility of something breaking, you shouldn't be spending $500 on it in the first place. When I buy a wired Wacom tablet for $100, it's like $125. I don't give a fuck if it breaks within a year because I mistakenly forgot to unplug it and I pulled at the connector or some shit like that. Because it only cost me $100. Now make that $500. Suddenly, the quality assurance has to be like 100% on point, or else you're absolutely fucked. And that's a really, really bad gamble to be making in the modern day and age. You're working on screenlit tablets, right? So my current screenless tablet is a Deco Pro wireless pen tablet, which is about $200. I've went through about 4 of these because I kept on buying the wired one because I was like, meh, I can have the wired one. But then the wiring, if you buy wired tablets, the wiring connection is a huge point of failure because it's like right next to your hand and it's just really easy to bump it or get your arms or legs caught on it, or sometimes it just gets loose. So it's better to just spend a little bit extra for a wireless one. That's my pro tip. But yeah, I was putting away all of my XP Pen drawing tablets when I was putting away my shit, and noticed that all the tablets that I thought were broken and unusable were actually usable to one degree or another. So I don't think I need to buy all these fucking tablets, but... They had little things broken with them. One, the top of the screen, like the screen surface was kind of peeling, which made it like rough and shitty to use. But you can solve that by just taping a piece of paper on top of the screen if you're using a screenless tablet, which I do anyways. So I didn't need to buy a new one for that. I think the other ones were all like the connector was loosening, but I was able to solve that by using a different cell phone connector wire, because they're all just, what do you call it, USB 4. I forgot what the default cell phone charging format is, but they all just use that. So instead of using one of the cell phone charging wires that comes in the box with my drawing tablet, I tried using one of my thicker ones that came with my PS5 controller, and that solved the looseness issue, at least partially. So ultimately, all the ones that I thought were broken were not actually broken. They were fine, so I didn't need to buy them, but that's okay. You like drawing on-screen or no-screen tablets? I always use no-screen tablets. I've never tried using a screen tablet, but I've always used screenless tablets from day one. They're much cheaper. They also have fewer points of failure. And if they do fail, you can replace your laptop or whatever instead. The thing is, when you're buying screen tablets, like, if you go online and see what people are complaining about, a lot of it is like shit like dead pixels and stuff. You're spending a lot of money on a lot of multiple different things that can go wrong, because the display has to hold up, as well as the pressure sensitivity on the display, and so on and so on. So if you can draw on a screenless tablet, it also probably helps for your posture and stuff as well. And you can also do a lot of good things like taping paper to it, for example, which will add some nice resistance to your pen. Once I started using a piece of paper on top of my screenless tablet, I could never go back. It's so helpful. I'm Daddy's Whittled Tide Pod here. I'm all squishy and wet for Daddy. He loves how my bitter taste nuzzles his taste buds and my botanical range scent. But he knows how I'm not meant to be eaten. Wah, don't eat all of me, Daddy. Heh heh. My soap pussy is so wet. 1 lick, 2 lick, 3 lick, 4. No more, Daddy. I'll break. Ee hee hee. I'm Daddy's Whittled Tide Pod, so wet and squishy. Ooh woo. I guess it no longer deletes all the messages when you time out someone like it used to. Oh, I guess it leaves the one message in which you got timed out for. That makes sense. That's Constrictor's first timeout of the year. Also significantly easier to transport, as you don't need the 3-way cable shit and you can just connect it with a USB-C. I didn't know that you need that many cables. But yeah. So my wireless XP Pen tablet, you need to charge it by plugging in the USB-C cable, and you can still connect it to your laptop with a USB-C cable if you want to, but it's just like, what do you call it, a wireless mouse style, like little nub thing that you plug in, and then you can, put it wherever it doesn't get in the way. Because you're probably going to have your tablet in your lap. Not having these extra cables running around your legs or your cock or whatever really makes a pretty big difference. You need one for your GPU, a USB-C, and one that's a plug. What, for a wired tablet? Sure, or not a wired tablet, a screen tablet like a Wacom. No way. I thought like the top level Wacom tablets had like a graphics processor in them. Isn't that why they're expensive? Because they have to like render shit on their screen. Are you telling me I'm spending like $2,000 on a fucking like top of the line Wacom screen tablet, and you need to have a separate fucking GPU? Is that real? Wacom screen tablet. Like Syntix? There are tablet computers. Do they actually need a fucking separate GPU in this PC climate? I'm pretty sure the expensive ones you don't need to buy anything extra. I don't know about the cheaper ones. I haven't seen anyone talk about, when they talk about like tablet reviews, talk about which GPU to buy. That's probably a thing for like the cheaper tablet, but I don't think that's for like the top of the line shit. Either way, in the year 2026, anything that involves GPUs or RAM or whatever, you're fucking dunzo. I assume. With everyone complaining about the price of RAM, what about the GPUs? What if I buy something that is like ancient in terms of its if I buy like a RTX 12 an RTX 3 instead of an RTX 5070? It shouldn't really matter, right? If I only want to play Doom on my local graphical computer or whatever, my graphing calculator, my egg timer. We've been told that they'll limit GPU VRAM to 8 gigabytes. LMAO. Wait, is that the VRAM inside the GPU? So, people who build your gaming PCs, please explain to me. If it says that I have, like, my AMD shit tells me I have 16 gigabytes. Is that actually tied to the GPU or what? I have RAM, 16 gigabytes of 3200 megahertz DDR4 memory. $16 gigabytes, 3200 megahertz DDR4 memory. Let's look at the price for that. I don't know. It looks like this. I can buy 2 sticks of this for, I don't know, $300. So that would be double that for $300 on Japanese Amazon. It doesn't look that expensive. RAM and VRAM are separate? Okay, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Anybody who ever advises me to build my own PC because it's just like Legos better fucking reimburse me when I absolutely fail and all the thermal paste gets over my cock and balls. And it's like, oh shit, oh no, I fucked up so bad. Because that's what's going to happen. The GPU has its own RAM called virtual RAM. So how much virtual RAM do I have for my... Oh, it says right here, VRAM 1. AMD Radeon TM graphics. Is this my maximum amount of VRAM I have? No, probably not. I guess I probably have to look up how much VRAM is in the AMD Radeon RX 6700. Oh god, Uncle, you know what? Knowing this much about how to build your special weshel little gaming PC ain't getting you any pussy, okay? Never forget that. In fact, this is the opposite of a pussy magnet. It's a pussy magnet pointed in the opposite direction. That girl you think is cute will never ever ask you to build her a gaming PC. She's going to the local Best Buy to buy a MacBook Air and then put pink stickers on it. She doesn't give a single fuck about your PC building abilities, okay? Snap out of it, bro. It's 10 gigabyte VRAM, so it's not bad, but not great. Realistically, what kind of video games do you think I can play with my MSI laptop? Is there an about this computer thing in 2025? I don't think there is. Cortana. Installed RAM 16 gigabytes, 3200 megahertz, AMD Ryzen 7 5800H with Radeon graphics, 10 gigabyte graphics card. See, how the fuck am I supposed to memorize the difference between the processor and the graphics card? 1/3 of the storage used entirely about porn. I need to delete some of the games in my laptop that I'm not actually using. How does having 16 gigabytes or more of RAM impact my PC's performance? Can I run modern applications smoothly with this RAM capacity? Having 16 gigabytes or more is excellent for power users, gamers, and content creators. That's me. I actually put a PC together for a chick in college, but she kind of stuck. Any woman who wants you to build a PC for her might have some serious personality issues. I think they sort of go together. I mean, any guy who wants you to build a gaming PC for them might have personality issues as well. normal, emotionally well-adjusted humans play video games on their stupid fucking smartphone like they were meant to. 30 GB RAM is the new 16 GB RAM these days. What the fuck are you gonna use that for? Like Starfield with big titty mod or something? Now you're glazing normies. You've changed, man. I'm just saying that normies might be disgusting, but I'd rather deal with a normie than like a gamer girl. If I want a woman who's interested in video games, I have to make sure I find one that owns like a Virtua Boy and is collecting special edition Game Boys from 30 years ago or something. That's the only type of gamer girl I'll trust. Most likely it's that new developers don't bother to optimize their software. Yeah. So you can run the latest games while also having 50 browser tabs open. That's probably what it comes down to, right? BaalBud fell off hard, bro. You can try as hard as you want, Constrictor, but I'm not going to time you out twice in the same stream. Unless you really work hard to deserve it. Imagine using Chrome Omega Lol. I used to use Chrome, and it had these weird delay spikes. And I was like, huh, what is causing this? Let's start by stopping to use Chrome. Stopping using Chrome first, and that actually fucking solved it. I don't know how Chrome became such a dog shit browser, but it really did. I don't know how it was using so much fucking memory that it was having issues with just a few tabs open with my 16 gigabytes of memory, but lo and behold, it did do it. What do you use two browsers for? I have one browser with nothing logged into it, so I can show it on the screen. Firefox is my, if I want to look up, I don't know, horse pussy or something, it won't show my email when I post it on this screen, so. Your only problem is that your laptop is going to overheat and throttle. Well, I haven't tried playing any real modern heat-intensive games on this recently. Like, I would like to go back to playing Path of Exile 2, but I feel very confident that that would be too much for my laptop's heat capabilities. Why not make a separate profile with incognito? Because it's easier to just click on a different browser entirely. Constrictor, I'm going to have to ban you for racism. We don't use that word here. I don't think I ever should do. I don't think I should do rough drafts. I think it destroys my creativity. I think I should just draw it directly and worry about it later. I just don't like the process of tracing. It just feels weird. What mods? Do we only have one mod? Is that it? It's crazy. Everything needs like 32 RAM for most AAA games, bro. If Neo 3 comes out and I just want to play it at like 480p, 30 frames per second, I wonder if I'll be able to do it on this laptop. Do we need mods though? If you guys piss me off, I just ban you. It's that simple. Honestly, it doesn't really matter if we have mods or not. If I don't care if I get banned from Twitch or not, right? I run every game I want with an i5 24 gigabytes of DDR3 and a GTX 970 by just running everything at 720 and 30 frames per second. I think I have it set in my AMD menu to just throttle the frame rate or whatever. I forgot where it was, but tuning. There was a specific part in this menu in which I thought I was able to just fucking set it so that the frame rate doesn't go over like 40 frames per second. Don't need mods, just ban people who go Omega retarded mode. We don't get many of those people. It's such a small, closed community. I'm not popular enough to have people to show up just to piss me off. Guys, you need to promote me more so I can become popular. And then we can ban more people. I see that you are a cinematic gameplay enjoyer. I saw the version of Hobbit in the theaters in which Peter Jackson had, I forgot how many frames per second it was. Was it 60 frames per second in the Hobbit? The special high frame rate version. And I had heard beforehand that it looks bad in high frame rate, and it actually did look bad. Like, everything looked way too clear. It was like, for some reason, everything looked like super crisp. And like, you could see all these extra details, and it made everything look really fake. Because like, it was like you were looking at a movie set, because now you could see all this weird ass details. I was shocked, but it really did look worse. It turns out that the human eye truly shouldn't see above 28 frames per second. Cinema Chads were right. I want to go back to low poly graphics. I mean, that's what all these indies are doing right now, right? They all are like, oh, this nostalgic PS1 style, you know, retro boomer shooter, and so on. It's pretty crazy that AAA gaming had some of the most brain-dead audiences on the planet who was like, we will buy Call of Duty every year, we will buy NBA 2K every year, regardless of quality, forever. And yet they were somehow to take all that goodwill and absolutely fuck it. The fact that we've gotten to the point where even like the normie consumers are just like, meh, maybe I won't buy Call of Duty this year, really shows how much the game industry has taken their customers for granted. Dying a little time every time these kids call the PS2 and Wii retro. Yeah. I recently bought Red Faction, and that's PS2 graphics, and it looks pretty retro. I don't know. Whatever the fuck retro means. Remember that soon Xbox 360 will be retro. People would be like, I remember 2015. The beginning of my retro gaming career. PS4 came out over a decade ago. Don't worry, PS4 will never be retro because video game graphics and capabilities literally will never move any more forward than PS4. That's as far as we get. So even if retro gets more and more intolerably recent as the Zoomers enter our life, it will never become, like, PS4 will never become retro because there's no difference between PS4 and PS5, and there definitely won't be any difference between PS5 and PS6. Have you seen the news that, like, Sony was kind of hinting that PS6 might be, like, you might be able to play every single generation's games on it, like from PS1, PS2, etc. So the fact that they think that, like, don't you think that's like a sort of harbinger? Like in PS4 era and PS5 era, I believe someone was saying, like, they had industry marketers be like, most people play recent games, and I was like, that's true. But it's not true anymore. I'm not playing recent games. I'm playing old-ass games. I'm playing fucking Red Faction on my PC. We've actually gotten to the point where a major function or an advertising point of our latest game console is like, don't worry, you can play games that were made 20 years ago, back when video games were good. It's like the saddest shit ever. I bet they'd make you pay full price for 30-year-old games. I mean, that's what they were doing. They're doing that right now. So if they're trying to advertise that you can newly play old-ass games, that means there's like some sort of disk drive that can read the PS1 game. If they mean that you can emulate PS1 games, they already are doing that. Making you pay $15 for like Final Fantasy VII original version. I don't believe these corpo shills, bro. PS6 will not deliver. I don't believe anything at this point. Luckily, I'm okay if gaming just dies. Or more like, we're just gonna use our minimum grade PC to play or emulate games from many, many years ago. It's just what everyone's gonna be doing. It's just going to be emulation and indies. Final Fantasy VII with shit translation included. You forget that I can speak Japanese, so I don't have to play the shit translation version. I can just play the original Japanese. I'm not like you people. I don't have to suffer. big corpo gaming has been dying for years now. I mean, we've been saying that it should be dying. We want it to be dying for years now, but it hasn't actually been dying until recently. Ubi shit getting bought out by, what was it, Tencent or whatever, is like the canary in the coal mine. 20 years ago or 15 years ago, whatever, I don't know when Ubisoft peaked, when we were all playing Assassin's Creed 538. None of us was like, oh, I hope Ubisoft will be okay. But here we are. PC, oh my sweet summer child, you mean your government-sanctioned node that connects you to a cloud PC with our quotas. I live in Japan, so I'll be fine. The last free state of Japan. You see the AC Shadows Attack on the Titan collaboration? Yes. I think the worst part about that wasn't how janky it looked, but the fact that there's no actual gameplay. It was just like, look, what if we took this IP? Fellow gamers, don't you like Attack on the Titan? Haha. Surely this will convince you to buy our fucking skins. $20 each, right? Surely you enjoy blatant cash grabs? The Assassin's Creed Attack on Titan thing was egregious. It was just, they were like, what if we put... Instead of doing that, they should have done the thing that every other game has done, which is get the IP of 2B and put 2B's ass in Assassin's Creed. People would buy that skin if they put the 2B ass in the game, but that would be too much work. Miss Attack on the Titan pre-time skip, man. I have no real feelings for Attack on the Titan. I read a few of the earlier chapters and watched a few of the earlier anime episodes, and that's about it. I'm not really interested in it. For me, a series where the primary appeal is people breaking down and being like, I was a failure after all. All is for naught. I'm a pathetic little bitch. And they do that until the end. Isn't really, it doesn't activate my neurons. Western gaming is a cancer. Unlike a cancer, we don't actually have it inside our body, so we don't actually have to participate in Western gaming. We just need to buy product when we actually want to buy the product. It's actually not that difficult. I mean, name video games that you're looking forward to, guys. What games do you plan to buy in 2026? Go ahead, list them up in chat. Oh man, I'm sure there's a lot of games we have to look forward to. Neo 3, yes, me too. I wonder if I'll be able to play it on this laptop. Not exactly Western gaming, however. Half-Life 3, GTA 6. Of course, surely 2026 is the year in which we will get GTA 6. Mugernix. Is this going to be porn? Mugenics on Steam. Build the ultimate cat army. Through tactical breeding and send them into deep, challenging, turn-based adventures. I don't know. I don't think it's properly channeling the cuteness of cats. It's cat porn. Arguably a more potent form of porn than real porn. Chris Avalon's dark fantasy RPG is in development. Meh. Xenogames. I don't have a Switch. I guess I could play Disco Elysium even with this laptop. Neo 3 better not require a beefy computer. I will play it at 480 pixels and then imagine that it looks good. I've already seen enough of the graphical assets on my PS5 that I can recreate them with my brain. And I'm sure they're going to be reusing like half of the assets anyways, so... I wish I could go to the porn dimension where my entire body was a constantly coming and replenishing cock. Neo never really appealed to me. Neo appeals to only the strongest of gamers and the most powerful chads. Unfortunately, there aren't as many in this planet as we need. Only the most skilled of gamers can understand the beauty of Neo. Most Dark Souls players touch Neo and they don't understand how to key pulse and stop playing within 10 minutes because it's too difficult for them. I'm being sarcastic, but not really. If you look online, there's a million comments of Dark Souls players who think that Dark Souls is like the hardest game on the planet, and they play Neo and they don't use any of like the action game mechanics that make the game easier, and they're like, this is too difficult, how can this be? And you're like, oh god, they're fucking retarded. I guess I don't have to click allow on these messages because you can see this anyways because it's on my screen. I hate loot systems. If you don't like loot systems, you just select everything and then delete it. If you're just playing through the story mode, you just use whatever is like the most recent shit you picked up. That's good. You don't worry too much. It's only an endgame issue if you don't like building shit. Key pulsing is so easy a retard can do it. You forget that most gamers are retards. Although I guess you said even a retard can do it, so that shouldn't disqualify them, but I think you're overestimating the intelligence of the average from game player. Who's been trained to think that pressing the circle button so that they can roll around on the ground is the most powerful and effective tactic on every single video game. They're like, I am a god gamer, I press the roll button. I will roll until the enemy stops attacking me, and then I will press the R1 button and then hit it. IGN couldn't key pulse in Neo 3. Where it starts to get difficult in Neo is doing the weapon switching and stance switching and stuff, which gives you even more key to do shit, which I was always bad at. Hell, you don't even need to key pulse, actually, if you're just willing to, like, play slowly. I think there were boss fights in which I was getting so flummoxed by the boss's attacks that I was just like forgetting to key pulse and I was just running around like a dumbass, but I was still able to beat the game. Disagree, key pulse is important. I mean, if you're actually waiting for it to slowly recover, then yeah, you're probably cooked, but I feel like you can just beat Neo just by upgrading your spear skills and just poking in mid-stance spear. The spear poke is so powerful. You clear out yokai zones with it, that's true. What's your opinion on Yakuza games? There's too much plot for me. I don't know. I guess I could get into them. I sort of missed the boat to get into Yakuza games. And as a result, I haven't had like the right excuse to get into them. Japan doesn't seem as much of a mystical wonderland as it does to you, Gaijin, so being allowed to walk around Kabukicho probably isn't as special to me as it is to you guys. I want to go to fantastical Western fantasy locations, not local gang infested part of fucking shitty Tokyo that I can go to in real life if I want to. The plot is always boring, but the side quests rule. It's never late to get into Like a Dragon, Ryuga Gotoku 7, Hikari to Yami no Yukue, since it has an entirely different main character. I also have that for free in my PS Plus collection, so I could have played it at any time, and yet I didn't. It's always too late to get into gaming when you have other shit you have to do in life, and you're going to die soon because you're fucking old. I'm going to not give him a turban. Or... No, I know what I'm going to do. I'm just going to change the angle. See, my problem was that it was covering up too much of his face, so... As someone who got a tablet, do I practice circles or just use the ellipse tool? I don't know. You can use both. I feel like if you get too used to using like the straight line tools and the curve tools, when you draw something using those tools, it becomes too clean, and you won't be able to draw appealing lines if you get used to using tools. I feel like straight line tools decrease the appeal of your drawing. I think the more organic, i.e., the more that the audience can feel your hand in the process, the more they'll like your art. So you have to be very cautious about when you use stuff like stabilization or the straight line tools or vector lines and stuff like that. You could make a wrong turbine folding pattern for the wrong culture and time period. True, I guess. Stabilization is always off. Fuck that. I have stabilization high for this right now, but I always fiddle with it all the time. Depending on how you hold your pen, it won't even make any difference. Using rasters would often make drawings look off. Raster is the default mode. Vector is the I want to do graphical design mode. In general, I don't think you should touch vectors. All the drawing tutorials about like how to make the perfect line art by using vectors is just like, it's gonna lead to really shitty art, I feel. By not drawing the turbine, I can show that he's balding. Vegeta style Widow's Peak here. Why did I say rasters? I am stupid. I assumed you meant the opposite, but some people do draw in vectors as default. There's all these tutorials for like line art, and they're like, make sure you use vectors, and then use the correct line tool. When vectors start to feel really weird is when you want to erase something. See? If I go, let's make a vector layer, and I'm like, oh, let's draw. See, up until this point, it just feels normal, right? Let's draw this person's face. And then I'm like, oh, I don't like, this is too much black here. I want to change a little bit of this shape. Let me adjust this shape using my eraser. See, you see that? Where it just sort of moves like you're pushing like a pudding or something. Bloop. Bloop. See, you can't just like clip off the side like that. You try and erase it, it pops back out. Vectors are weird, man. If you're just drawing lines and stuff, so it's good when you're like drawing shit like hair, and you're like hair, 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 and you're like, oh, look at all this overlap. This, I want to erase this quickly. You go to the vector eraser and you go, boop, and you just erase the overlaps just by tapping it. So I've seen some manga artists say they use vectors just for stuff like hair, like very specific parts. But as a general rule, you probably shouldn't be using vectors. It is helpful when you want to do shit like this, but I don't bother with it. You create more nodes and select what you want to delete, or you could just use rasters and draw it normally. I feel like the digital art process should be set up so that you can mimic the analog art process digitally. And once you start getting too far away from the analog art process, you start to lose a bunch of stuff. I recently changed the way I hold a pen, and that was because I was doodling, and when I was putting away shit to move to Japan, I found all these old sketchbooks and pens in my analog art supply closet area, and I was like, I should try drawing on paper. And then I was like, oh, it's hard to draw if I hold this pencil like this. I should hold it like this. Oh, this is the way animators hold their pencils. Oh, maybe I should try doing that digitally. And now I've changed a lot of my drawing form and stuff, and it's helped a lot. So yeah, never forget the connection to the paper. Let's make Aladdin super gaunt. We always return to basics? Yeah. It doesn't matter how expensive GPUs and stuff become. Ultimately, even if the entire world collapses and AI destroys all technology, I can still draw pictures on the pavement using my own shit and blood. I will draw artwork of big titty anime girls with my own feces, and they will call me Shit Banksy. Banksy is Shit Banksy, yeah. But I want to be literal Shit Banksy. Poop is probably not a very good art medium to draw in. It probably washes away too easily or something. If it came out that Banksy was all just like a huge marketing scheme by a massive global corporation one day, I'd just be like, yeah, seems about right. At least he's not Damien Hirst. If we start going into the how bad it can get. For those of you who don't know what Damien Hirst does, he makes these extremely expensive showy art pieces, like this gigantic fucking shark in formaldehyde, which I guess are sold to billionaires with more space and money than they know what to do. He also made like a diamond-studded skull or something, I can't remember. Looks cool though, it could be worse. My ultimate version of I don't respect this artist will always be Andy Warhol, who not only was taking images that other people created in the form of photographers taking a photo of a famous person, and then he would use it without like permission, which he got sued over recently. He would just take image and make silk screen printing of someone else's image. He was basically... Also, sometimes he wasn't the person making the silkscreen printing. It was one of his, like, apprentice studio people. He was basically the original fucking AI prompter before AI prompting technology was available. He would be an AI designer if he was alive today. So AI prompters have a lot to learn from Andy Warhol, because Andy Warhol is living proof that if you market yourself hard enough, you can convince people that you're an artist even though you haven't done shit. And they should be going in that direction instead of spending all their time like complaining about real artists going extinct and stuff. They should be using all their energy about like how they are in fact a real artist. I mean, they do a little bit of that, but it's basically an Andy Warhol situation. The canvas self-destructing when it was sold at an auction will forever be a Giga Chad move. It was a Giga Chad move until the destructed canvas became worth more than it originally was before it was destructed, thus showing that the art capitalism marketplace is incredibly retarded and there's nothing you can do. AI artists, stop being bigots, guys. They don't like being called prompters. I'm okay with calling them AI artists. I honestly don't fucking care at this point. No one takes them seriously, even themselves anyways, so what's the harm in calling them artists? We call a lot of other things that we shouldn't call artists. How do you feel about cubism? I drew a cubist Evangelion image. It didn't get many likes, but I was looking through my old shit on Twitter, and there was one person who said that this was his famous picture, his favorite picture of out of everything I've drawn. So now it's grown on me. I think I did a good job messing with space and composition and stuff. I think what I did was I drew a lot of the characters at a more normal spacing, and then I used like the transform tool to kind of warp them so it would all fit into these weird boxes and stuff. You see these very powerful vertical lines here. Powerful horizontal lines with the hands. Shinji, get in the robot. We have Fuyutsuki with the massive, I forgot the Twitter artist's shoulder right here. Just ignore the AI artists. Fighting them is like fighting with idiots. Every once in a while I check out AI artists, and they're either in their own little bubble telling how awesome their most recent thing is, but then they always ask each other what sort of like prompt or program they're using and stuff. It really is only hobbyists interested in creating their own shit. Like, that's the thing. I have yet to see anybody who isn't like prompting themselves be interested in AI art. I compare it mostly to people who commission artists to draw their OC characters. The reason my Patreon has a no OC character rule is that people don't care about your original content, furry Sonic OC character. Only you care about it. So everything produced by AI prompters is basically that. People just don't fucking care. I think the shoulder artist is Sato. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about. Every once in a while, I'll draw a Sato style massive shoulder. But commissioners don't really like AI art either. Yeah, I'm not saying that they're the same in terms of like being in the same grouping. They don't like each other. Commissioners are people who value artists enough to pay artists a shit ton of money to draw their OC characters. I'm saying like the product created in both cases is just something that is only relevant emotionally to that person who either commissioned the art or the AI prompter. Please draw Sonichu. I don't know if I can draw Sonichu out of memory. Is it just Sonic? It seems about right. Let's look at the actual Sonichu and see how close I got it. Okay, I think I missed a few of the important aspects of him. But I did an okay job here. So the eyes have to be connected. The nose has to be abnormally big. I think that's going to change depend on... No, it's pretty big and consistently big. Okay. There's too much hair. It's just one. I guess there is none, depending on the angle. There's only one. There's no spikes. Okay. Seems about right. We have to put this thing in here. The stomach. The arm length is correct, though. What's going on with the tail? Yeah, I think this is about right. Now, it's important that we remember that Sonichu's arms are not blue or yellow. Having these weird patches of flesh-colored areas is very important to Sonic lore, especially for the oddists. Yes. Ah, my eyes. It hurts. Looks pretty good. I don't know, guys. I think we've did it. Thank you, Father. This goes hard. Mind if I screenshot? You better, because it's dying in 5 seconds. How does Chris Chan draw himself? That's actually more interesting than Sonichu. What's he's holding here? You can make fun of Chris Chan's abilities, but he shows rudimentary understanding of three-dimensionality with the way he's drawing this finger, pointing the hand in space, actually. It's actually not as wrong as you might think. The arm position and, like, the way he draws three-dimensionality is actually kind of correct. It's more correct than you might think. Zap to the extreme. Do you think they give him crayons in prison? Don't be silly, he's out of prison by now. I don't think he was even properly prosecuted. Outsider art is always interesting. I mean, I wonder how do we define outsider art? Outsider art. Self-taught individuals who are untrained and untutored in traditional arts with typical little or no contact. But we can look up everything on the internet nowadays, so... Adolf Wolfe is like the absolute ultimate version of this, though. You guys should look him up. He was such a massive autist that he makes Chris Chan look like a normal fucking human being. He had, like, absolutely serious mental illnesses. He had, like, this, like, a massive personal mythology about everything. Like, he drew these, like, mandala shits, but he wrote all these, like, stories about how he was, like, creating his own personal kingdom with, like, 18 trillion personal planets and 800 trillion billion dollars of money and stuff like that. I saw an exhibit of Adolf Wolfe actually in the Kobe local art museum that's close by to me right now that I could visit if I wanted to. And he produced so much shit. It was pretty crazy. Anything that stirs a person into creation instead of destruction will always be a positive in my book. As artists, we do both. Our process of creation is also destruction. I say as I draw Coomer Aladdin. I have to destroy your mom's pussy in order to create a new child, if you know what I mean. What's your favorite Buchayu parody establishment? I like Buchayu's superhero content in which the society is made up of female heroes getting impregnated by villains in an endless cycle of sexo. You as a stepdad would be incredible. No, it wouldn't. I would just be an absentee father like so many other fathers are. The mother would have to lie to the kid that I was in jail or something so that she could explain the fact of why I never show up to the kids' softball games. Hope I never become a dad. I would suck at it. That's the secret about being parents. The ones that end up becoming parents are the people who don't give a fuck. They're like, I don't care if my child's life is awful, LMAO. I just didn't want to wear a condom today. You in Japan now? Yes. We are in fact in Japan right now. Having this baby will save our relationship, copium, yes. His eyes don't look crazy enough. Not sure what Buchayu think when he created Poober Eats. Buchayu, I have this problem with a lot of hentai artists, but like, I discover them when they're sort of on their way up in terms of artistic ability, and then their artistic ability kind of peaks for me, and then they continue to become technically more proficient, but I find their content less coomable, and I'm not sure why. But I've had this problem with a lot of hentai artists. Like, they keep on getting technically more skilled, but after a certain level of like technical proficiency, I no longer find their art appealing, and I go back to jacking off to their old content. It's very strange. I'm not sure what causes this, but I've had this happen with a lot of different artists. I'm not sure how this happens. Nothing brings two people together like additional responsibility. Yes, surely this will not cause us to have horrible fights and stuff. You mean they start to stagnate for you? It's not stagnation, though, because I can understand that they're technically more proficient. And it's not that I'm getting bored of their art style, because I still jack off to their older stuff. So I'm not sure how to describe it. But there's like... I feel like hentai artist. I think it kind of goes like this for me. And there's this like peak around here where they're not as skilled, and it's sort of like the sweet spot of like being bad and like actually good. And it's not like the FAP ability like nosedives. It kind of plateaus, but there's this area here in which they're not like super skilled, in which I always kind of find when I go back to jacking off to their content. I'm not sure why. I haven't really had that issue with Shindo L, but I definitely have that issue with Butchayu. It's definitely like a style or appeal thing. We use the words like appeal to describe shit for like Toriyama art, where we're like, I don't understand why I like it, I just do, you know? We can't really properly analyze what causes us to find it so appealing. And the same is applying to porn in this case for me with the idea of fappability, although it's much more easy to find, and that's if I'm going to look at your pictures when I jack off. Okay, I need to make the beard. I think it's important not to zoom in when you're drawing on computer. It fucks everything up, I've noticed. You start drawing details that don't look correct when you zoom out. It's not just like you're wasting time drawing shit that people won't be able to decipher. It actually just like straight up looks wrong if you zoom in. I zoom in a lot with my work, should probably take your advice. It's especially important for shit that you're posting online because people are looking at it using their cell phones probably. So if it doesn't read from a small zoomed out image, then it's not going to make any real difference. People don't check shit on their PC anymore. It's all fucking cell phones. So you have to remember that the image has to look good from a cell phone size. As I say this, I should probably make Aladdin a little bit bigger. Like, you might even want to constantly be checking from like this level of zoomed out. Maybe people should stop using their damn phones. Good luck with that. That being said, if you're drawing manga style images, you should be able to read what's happening from a distance, whether people are looking on their phone or not. It should always be kind of pretty obvious. You want to try and simplify the shapes and the information as much as possible. Have you seen historically accurate Aladdin? No. I only care about the Disney version with mind-controlled sexy Jasmine. Honestly, Jafar is pretty retarded in retrospect. Diablo Immortal meme will never get old. Don't you have phones? Have you people seen the YouTube videos in which someone analyzed the Diablo Immortal microtransaction economy and they talked about how there are like 20 different types of currency and stuff? And I was like, holy fuck. This thing is a masterpiece of microtransactions. Anybody who's like, Blizzard is dead after Diablo 4, it's like, bro, they've been dead for a long time. You just weren't willing to notice. Disney villains are usually written to fail, so yeah. Gaston is the most obvious one. Gaston is like, I'm the local bully, sexy Chad. I'm definitely gonna climb onto this fucking roof of a castle and then fall to my death or whatever the fuck happened. That was so out of character of him. Gaston's only weakness was being in a book talk story with a beastman Chad. Yes. Women want the big dick, angry, violent Chad man, but only as long as he's the most big dick, violent Chad man around. Once they find one with a bigger dick that's even more violent and is essentially an animal, then they'll go for that one instead. You hear that, men? She will only value you until she finds a walking, talking horse prince. Or bear prince or something. She's literally gonna choose the bear. Imagine if Gaston was a local lord and the beast was some bum peasant. XD, yeah. Come to think about it, I often compare media for females to media for men. And I'm like, it's exactly the same thing. But there's a ton of media for men where the female character is like a loser or, you know, a bookworm that can't talk to people or whatever and stuff like that. You guys know of any media for females where the guy is essentially a loser? Like, I'm actually struggling to think of anything that's meant for women where the guy isn't some version of like a prince, a CEO, or if we're not going for material wealth, is like some sort of barbarian giga muscle Chad. I guess that's as far as you get from conventionally successful men. When men have a provider fantasy, women have much stricter hypergamy fantasy. I mean, not everything is provider fantasy for men. Remember the anime where the main girl was literally the main character's mom? I fucking love that shit. It was like, do you like mommy that can attack twice? Do you love your mom and her two-hit multi-target attacks? Okasan Online? The MILF Isekai that was peak. I remember there was copy pasta being made on the Japanese internet because they were like, the main girl is your mom, so why don't you get to date and fuck your mom? And like, there was someone responding being like, what are you talking about? That doesn't make any sense. Literally his mom, by the way. There is no concept of aging in anime. Your mom looks exactly the same as all the other characters that are not your mom. It is only the hair that can tell you. In fact, if you think about it, the man has the same face as his mom as well, and the females. Mom incest is like bottom tier incest. Younger sister incest is where it's at. Wrong. Tired OL One-chan older sister incest. is top tier incest. What is the deal with all of the incest in hentai? People who consume hentai both want the taboo of incest, but also the convenience of not having to establish a real relationship with a real human being. Did author let the mom ship happen? No, they did not. Say what you will about my little sister can't be this cute and stuff, but you have to give him credit where credit's due, in which he just straight up was like, yeah, this ain't stepsister, this ain't like a friendship ending, no,